Turn to page 7 of the prayer book. We'll start Refuge and Bodhicitta. In the Buddha's Dharma and Sangha, until enlightened I seek refuge, through merit from giving and the rest. To aid all may I become Buddha. In the Buddha's Dharma and Sangha, until enlightened I seek refuge, through merit from giving and the rest. To aid all may I become Buddha. In the Buddha's Dharma and Sangha, until enlightened I seek refuge, through merit from giving and the rest. To aid all may I become Buddha. May all sentient beings have happiness and its causes. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and its causes. May all sentient beings never be parted from sorrowless bliss. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free from bias, attachment, and hatred. To the founder, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings. To you, the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer of the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. To the founder, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings. To you, the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer of the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. To the founder, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings. To you, the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer of the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. When, O supreme among humans, you were born on this earth, you paced out 7 strides, then said, I am supreme in this world. To you who were wise then I prostrate. With pure bodies formed supremely pure, wisdom ocean like a golden mountain, fame that blazes in the 3 worlds, winner of the best, Lord, to you I prostrate. With the supreme science, face like spotless moon, color like gold, to you I prostrate. Dust free like you, the 3 worlds are not, incomparably wise one, to you I prostrate. The Savior having great compassion, the Founder having all understanding, the field of merit with qualities like a vast ocean, to you, the one gone to thusness, I prostrate. The purity that frees one from attachment, the virtue that frees one from the lower realms, the one path, the sublime pure reality, to the Dharma that pacifies, I prostrate. Those who are liberated and also show the path to liberation, the holy field qualified with realizations, who are devoted to the moral precepts, to you, the sublime community intending virtue, I prostrate. Homage to the Supreme Buddha, homage to the Dharma Refuge, homage to the Great Sangha, to all 3 ever devout homage, to all worthy of respect, bowing with bodies as many as all realms, atoms, and all aspects, with supreme faith I pay homage. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions, perform only perfect virtuous actions, subdue your mind thoroughly, this is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, a mirage, the flame of a lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew or a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud. See conditioned things as such. Through these merits may sentient beings attain the rank of all-seeing, subdue the foe of faults, and be delivered from samsara's ocean, perturbed by the waves of aging, sickness, and death. From Tushita's hundreds of God's protector's heart, to tip of this fresh, pure, white heap, curd like cloud, O Tsongkhapa, Dharma's omniscient king, pray come to this place with your disciples. In space ahead, on lion throne, lotus and moon, venerable Guru, smile brightly with delight. Pray stay hundreds of eons to spread doctrine as supreme merit, field for my mind of faith. Your wisdom mind sees full range of knowables. Your eloquent speech adorns fortunate ears. Your beauteous body, fame, glory, outstanding. Homage to you, worthwhile to think of, hear and see. Pleasant offerings of water, various flowers, fragrant incense, light perfume, and so on. Oceans of offerings set out and envisioned, offered up to you, supreme field of merit, non-virtue committed with body, speech, and mind, which I have heaped up since beginningless time, especially what has contradicted three vows. Each I confess from my heart with strong regret. In time of strife you strove to learn and practice, shunned eight mundane concerns, made life essence-full. O protector from depth of our hearts, we rejoice in your powerful great deeds. Venerable Gurus, from love and wisdom, clouds densely massed in your Dharmakaya sky, pray loose a rain of vast profound Dharma on fields of disciples just as needed. May whatever virtue that I've here gathered bring benefit to all beings and doctrine, and may it make Venerable Tsongkhapa's essential teaching specially shine forever. Migmet se wei te chen rezik, three me kien pei wang po jam pe yang, tu pung ma lu jom se sang wei tak, gong chen ke pe su gen Tsongkhapa, Lop sang tra pe zabla so wadem. O glorious and precious rude Guru, pray take seat of lotus on my crown, caring for me with your great kindness. Bestow attainments of body, speech, and mind. O glorious and precious rude Guru, pray take seat of lotus at my heart, caring for me with your great kindness. Bestow attainments common and supreme. O glorious and precious rude Guru, pray take seat of lotus at my heart, caring for me with your great kindness, until supreme awakening remain steadfast. Homage to the exalted three jewels. Thus have I heard at one time, the Blessed One was dwelling in Rajagriha on Vulture Mountain, together with a great assembly of monks and a great assembly of bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One was absorbed in the concentration of the countless aspects of phenomenon called profound illumination. At that very time, the superior Avalokiteshvara, the bodhisattva, the great being, was looking perfectly at the practice of the profound perfection of wisdom, perfectly looking at the emptiness of inherent existence of the five aggregates also.
Then through the power of the Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra said to the superior Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the great being, how should a child of the lineage train who wishes to engage in the practice of the profound perfection of wisdom? Thus he spoke, and the superior Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the great being, replied to the Venerable Shariputra as follows. Shariputra, whichever son or daughter of the lineage wishes to engage in the practice of the profound perfection of wisdom should look perfectly like this, subsequently looking perfectly and correctly at the emptiness of inherent existence of the five aggregates also. Form is empty, emptiness is form, emptiness is not other than form, form is not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discrimination, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. Shariputra, like this, all phenomena are empty, without characteristics, that is, they are not produced and they do not cease. They have no defilement and no separation from defilement. They have no decrease and no increase. Therefore, Shariputra, in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no compositional factors, no consciousness. There is no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no visible form, no sound, no smell, no taste, no object of touch, no mental phenomenon. There is no I element, and so forth, up to no mind element, up to no element of mental consciousness. There is no ignorance and no cessation of ignorance, and so forth, up to no aging and death, and no cessation of aging and death. Likewise, there is no suffering, no origin, no cessation, and no path, no exalted wisdom, no attainment, and also no non-attainment. Therefore, Shariputra, because there is no attainment, bodhisattvas rely on and abide in the perfection of wisdom, and because their minds have no obstructions, they have no fear. Passing utterly beyond error, they attain the final state beyond sorrow. All the Buddhas who reside in the three times, by relying upon the perfection of wisdom, become manifest and complete Buddhas in the state of unsurpassed, perfect, and complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra, the perfection of wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the equal to the unequaled mantra, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering, since it is not false, should be known as the truth. The mantra, the perfection of wisdom, is proclaimed. Tayata gate gate paragate parasomgate bodhi soha. Shariputra, this is how a bodhisattva, a great being, should train in the profound perfection of wisdom. Then the Blessed One arose from that concentration and said to the superior Avalokiteshvara, the bodhisattva, the great being, well said, O child of the lineage, so it is. The profound perfection of wisdom should be practiced exactly as you have taught, and the Tathagatas will rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, the Venerable Shariputra, the superior Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the great being, and the entire assembly, as well as worldly beings, gods, humans, demigods, Gandharvas, and others, were filled with admiration and highly praised what had been spoken by the Blessed One. In the holy supreme abode of the Dakinis, possessed of clairvoyance and miraculous power, unwaveringly caring for practitioners of your children, homage to the host of the three places Dakinis. Akasama Rasa Shada Ramadape, Akasama Rasa Om Gate, Gate, Paragate, Parasomgate, Bodhi Soha. Through the power of truth of the exalted three jewels speech, may all on the side of negativity such as the four Maras be stopped, may they become non-existent, may they be pacified. All enemies, obstructors, and hindrances, Shante, Kurye, Soha. The 80,000 types of obstructors pacified, freed from adverse, harmful conditions, may all be conducive with perfect auspiciousness, bring happiness and well-being here right now. Crown perfume anointed flowers strew Meru for lands, sun and moon adorned, seen ki chokukala yen se drin ne jitar sampe duje zin ma la sa ye choki charpa wa tu so idam guru ratna mandala kam nirya dayami Chodan Tongki Chona La Jakju Pardu Dagdu Kepsuchi Dagi Chonim Gepe Sonam Ki Drola Penchir Sange Drupa Sho Chongde Songki Chomna La Jakju Pardu Dagdi Kepsuchi Dagi Chonim Gepe Sonam Ki Drola Penchir Sange Drupa Sho Chongdai Songki Chongna La Jangju Pardu Dagdu Kapsuchi Dagi Chonyen Gepe Sonam Ki Drola Penchir Sange Drupa Sho
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Geshe. Welcome back.
Thank you. How are you guys?
Good.
Good. Very nice to see you again. Very nice to meet you. Some new people. I miss you guys.
You too.
Good. Anyway, we are very fortunate to meet again to talk about a little bit how we become peaceful person, how we become calm down mind. Is that correct? Maybe I forgot English. In my broken English, now really broken again. I mix a little bit nomad dialect. Anyway, it's very happy to be up, talk about a little bit about Buddhism. I think you already know that what is Buddhism, what benefit Buddhism, study Buddhism, why we need to accept some religion. Then usually I always mention someone's talking there. Good. Someone my voice over there. Anyway, all the world, all the sentient beings, same as us, to peaceful life, happy life, relaxed mind. If religion people or non-religion people, it doesn't matter. If rich or poor or famous, it's non-famous. It doesn't matter. All same. Right? Are you guys Agree? Is correct? Agree? Yeah, if you have to little bit fix my English, okay? Then the many people that we believe the religions. Then religion is there. Then who has something, difficult or something unstable situation, something to pray, something to refuge, right? Who people I think this religion, who believe the religion, those people, wish or they believe when they want something, then when they wish something to do, then first they have to pray that they are God or Buddha or however religion they believe, right? Then we believe we pray or we refuge for our religion or God or Buddha, whatever the people believe, then they help for us. Then we have something to very good things happen, then people say, oh, Buddha help for us, or God bless. People say, right? Then particularly Buddhism is talk about our mind, right? Then whatever you now I forgot English one word. Anyway, I forgot now. Just switch off better. And it done. They were the dunga kari yimbayana to the suzu seminal race.
So, according to Buddhism, whether it's the happiness or suffering, it all depends on our mind, right?
And the Canada was a nice time on the Yamutan, so some town was not so Kangendo, Chishawayana. Did it Kangi then also Takangi Chimbo Tivayana? And when I manila Kangi Dada Yuambachi. Then the Michi Kangi de Takangi Chimbushra Matiwambachi. Chiga Kangi the Kangi Chimbu Tivayana. And the Kangi Chimbu to Medalaya, that's time that Deche Nuada. And the Kangi Chimbu meeting Midi Samaya. And the Deche Ma, the younger resro.
So what I mean by that is that even if two people are experiencing the same kind of suffering, depending on their mind, one person may feel more suffering and another person may feel less suffering. And so whoever thinks that, oh, this is too much, I can't bear it, this is big suffering. If your mind think like that, then it really becomes big suffering, and then you feel more pain. But the other person says, oh, this is nothing, everybody goes through that, this is okay, if like that. If your mind thinks like that, then it doesn't become big suffering, it becomes very small and almost nothing for that person. So even though they're going through the same kind of difficulties or suffering.
Pechachawana Tatiri, Mini Yamdochina, Motakin Kolo, Igutowa Nasra. And the Michi Digda, Tanga Pesa, Tiri Lebgosata, Lemazo, Tizote Jalacaso, Tayanga Insurance Pandogos, that then reach Suzu, some Mampo Tawana, only Suzu Samlaya, Tanyamachi, the Valando race. And the Chi Digita, Keo Marco, Colo to her, go to her, you are too sorry. And the cow, and Juju Tansho, first church or some called Mixing the Nangado Masamayana, and in Kolo Puvi Dunga, Sagana, Tekangi Diga, and the Kangi meeting the latter, Dunga Matovares, Kangi Ting the la, could Dunga Chet, that Trevor was.
And so, for example, if two person went through the same kind of difficulties of experiencing a tire puncture, And then one person thinks, oh, this is so bad, now I will not get in time to my work, and I'm going to have complaint from this person, that person. And so if you start to think about all these worries, and then that really becomes a big problem for you. And then other person thinks that, oh, this is nothing, this is something that happens to all of us, it doesn't matter, no need to worry, I'll just call and somebody to fix it, and it'll be fixed, and it'll be okay. If you think like that, then your mind will feel much happier. So even though they're going through same kind of difficulties of having tire puncture, but because of way of they think, makes it different in their mind. Is that true?
Do you think that?
And so it's not something that I'm just making it up, but it's taught by the Buddha, and it's it's our own experience also, right? And so that's why we say Buddhism is according to the science, in accordance with the science.
Science said
So science is something that you come to believe after investigation, right? So you investigate, and then finally you find out about something, and they say, yes, this is what it is, or this is how it is, and that's when you believe. You don't just believe because somebody or something said that, And so same with Buddhism, the teachings taught by Buddha, can be analyzed, can be investigated, upon investigating, and then you find out, oh yeah, it's really like that, it's true. Then when you come to understand that, then you can believe it is like that. And so the Buddhism that we are practicing or studying now, is the Buddhism that came from Buddha Shakyamuni about 2,500 years ago from India. And so they said that Buddha Shakyamuni came in this world in a form of human and taught the teachings. So in that life also, Buddha came or was born like just like us, came into this world, and he grew up, went through all the studies, and then later, upon seeing the sufferings in this world and the sufferings of the whole samsara, then he turned into a Dharma. Right? So then through practicing Dharma, and eventually became Buddha. And so when you become Buddha, it's what you call that, fully enlightened being. And so when you become fully enlightened is when you have clarified, or you have purified all the negativities, all the obstructions from your mind. And so what do you think? Can our mind be separated from the delusions? So right now it is not separated, right? Because we get angry, we get attached, right? So whenever we don't become angry, I mean, when we reach that state where we not become angry at all, where we not have any attachment at all, and so forth, then that time we have separated our mind from the delusions. And so that kind of delusion or the obstructions are not in the nature of our mind. So just like the dirt on the cloth is not the part of the cloth, is not the nature of cloth, right? Because that dirt can be separated from the cloth. But most of your clothes, you don't see any dirt, right? Here in America.
When I was last month, or last week, and Tibet, then the people, the nomad people, when my father, I took here the Shogolombashio, Thomas Shogolombashio, what the kilo is.
What do you call that? The wet wipes, to clean your face. Yeah.
Then, my father is Lord, we can just see here something that
So you can see the dirt from his face, with the sweat, it's like dripping down his face.
And then the normal people, then I just wipe the one, check out one piece of, tissue, just wipe one time, just a complete block, complete, just one time. There, therefore the Lord. Then I ask her, do you take shower? He said, it's a couple years ago when I was, in Tibetan, then a lot of nature hot waters,
Natural.
nature
Hot spring.
hot springs. The people going to there, they don't take shower, but just jump there. They stay a couple hours. Then they don't use the soaps. They said they took shower there. They don't use the soap. Then doesn't. He said, couple years ago I was went there. It's couple years, not couple days, couple months. But it's maybe weather's very cold. Then we don't have any smiles to the dirt. Smell. Anyway, then that go tapamo then subu chapati, shilo chapati, suburanja pashume, 2 years.
So anyway, in that kind of environment or place, you can see dirt on people. So that dirt on the people, on their body, is not in the nature of the body, right? Because it can be washed away.
Then ngandu semda nyomuni kagaim bares. Yena semda nyomuni ta kare. Shidan kaga che yores ro. Yena ta nyamdo shosa kada mando kanje ngandu sem nyomo jangwa chendo yores.
And so, in a similar way, our mind, is not one, with the delusions, so they can be separated. So delusions can be separated from one's mind, and excuse me. And so, because it is not in the nature of the mind, so therefore it can be separated. But our mind is always under the control of the delusions. So we follow the delusions all the time.
Tende imba tende imbe jinendo kana ngado kadina kondo sasaga 되면 도. ngado kadina chado jeje가 되면 도 was.
And so the reason why it's like that is because our mind is not always, in the nature of that delusion, right? It's like our mind is not always angry, it's not always jealous, and so forth.
다 kondo 사대 ngado 다 nyomo chig미를 왔다. 내가 저 셔다 때문 ngaja 셔다 마무셔라 이래. 누가 찍발이 미다다 가는.
So there are many kind of delusions in our mind, right? So like I'm just giving an example of anger, jealousy, but there are others like attachment, pride, arrogance, and so forth, right?
어떤다 사제 가르소나 된되게 셈데 소수 셈다 카치에 답시고 그래. 대체나 다 밑에 보용 거래스. 달라비오레스.
And so those are the the negative kind of mind, and we should separate those minds from our primary mind, and then we'll be happy.
그래와 다대 용사를 도로면 간도 상무당 그래. 된지게 로데 인간의 재원 삼말라 간도 셈 땅 간도 간 기우면 도 와서.
And whether that's true or not, we can investigate ourselves. Like when that kind of mind manifests, do we become happy? Are we happy when we're angry or when we are jealous and so forth? We can see that. And so it's true, right, that whenever these kinds of mind appear or manifest in our mind, then we always become unhappy.
다 가르치고서나 아니 샴바세 니제사 젬페게 삼바세다 당연히야 저러도 따고 들라고 그랬어.
So these are the negative state of the minds which makes us unhappy. So what kind of mind makes us happy is the positive state of mind, such as loving kindness, compassion, affection, and so forth. So these kind of mind makes us happy, so we should try to develop more and more of those minds.
듣는 바에서 다 상제해야 돼, 상하셔야 돼, 간지 sem nyomo the tra songwa the sang jese de ta mishiba ane hamoga chiga mewa da sang jese tangso they want to was.
So the full enlightenment or Buddhahood or full enlightenment has two part. So one part is having purified all the negativities, all the obstructions, and the other part is having gained all the knowledges. So that means you know everything there is to know.
What the tanganzo kadina no sanje chodang chojin chonum la se de ta sanje se da sanje se de ta lab ko was.
And so in the beginning of the prayers where we take refuge is in the Buddha Dhamma and Sangha I take refuge. So that's like so the first one, the Buddha. So that's the fully enlightened being.
The sanje se de ta chap temba bumbare ta chu temba boyambare gedu lando shinja malba ma lamnge de ta sanje se de is.
So Buddha is the teacher, so or the founder of the refuge or the teacher who teaches what is the way of taking refuge and so forth.
The gandu karas sanje chudan shonda gandu refuge ka teranga ngala gedu shinja gedu lando shinja malba tenro nas ngechara rewa jagi yil ta lab ko sikti tanda.
So he said, when you take refuge, in the Buddha, we say I take refuge in the Buddha. So in the other word, how Buddha can protect us, right? So we take refuge in Buddha, and Buddha, because we're expecting Buddha to protect us, and so how he can protect us, is by showing us the path, showing us the path, of the virtue. That is to be cultivated, and showing the path to eliminate or to abandon the non-virtues. And so by showing that, then Buddha protect us. So and when we're taking refuge in Buddha, we're asking actually him to teach us what are the things to be abandoned and what are things to be cultivated.
배차잖아 간도 파마도 개개개 난돌라 따지 연대마 랍고요. 와 누체고다 누체야 말다스지.
And so just like our parents, our teachers in our the secular life, we have our parents and teachers who teach us, right? Who tell us what to do, what not to do. It's just, oh, this is good thing, you should do this. This is bad thing, you should not do this.
어때도 찍바래 산재기 샘 녀모 와도 만로와 아생도 말랍고요레스.
And so this is same, in the teachings. Buddha teaches us what are to be abandoned and what are to be cultivated. And what he says is that the delusions are the one that brings us all these sufferings. So therefore, we should not follow the delusions.
그러와 어떻게 산재스 다 말랍자 장에들 산재스러와 다 디가 랍자 가지는 추세다 그 랍자 잡아야 말이스.
And so Buddha is the one who explains all these instructions, right? And whatever instruction that he has given, is the Dharma.
그러와 배차샤바나 저랑서 PhD가 로종 랭이제나 다 PhD가 로종 땡에디 다 갱에들어 와서.
So, for example, if you are taking a course to do a PhD, then the teacher who gives you that the instruction lessons is the teacher, right?
그러와 디가 로조 가는 다 뎀나 강요하다 자 말랍고요. 와서 대나지 다 산재기 다 추세도 막 송와야 말해서 추세대로.
So then he teaches all these lessons, right? The instructions, he gives you the instruction or the lessons he teaches. So that is the knowledge. And just like that, so Buddha gives all these teachings. Buddha is the teacher, and the teaching, is the Dharma.
대내가 닮아 대다 오늘 지금도 추고 오늘 해야 돼. 딱 동반이 응해서 또배로 세 지금도 랍거다. 땡어도 가르쳐 싫어. 지금 말해 왔어.
And so the instruction, that helps us, to be actually free from the suffering, is the true Dharma, is the actual Dharma, and that actually refers, to the wisdom realizing emptiness directly. And of course, in our case, as ordinary being, that is very difficult for us, right?
다 대람도 가진나 릭바 이시진 가다 문도 쇼스. 단도 마릭바, 단다 미시바, 몽바가 나도 그가 희금도 왔어. 나도 마시바다 몽바 나도 먹어서 얘 몸도 왔어. 전도 미시바 나도 미시야 몸도 왔어. 간지.
And so the wisdom here, is referring to the wisdom of the mind, that knows the things, that knows the reality, that knows the truth, right? So there are so many things that we don't know. So we are ignorance to that. So we are ignorant to that, and so we have to develop the wisdom that eliminates the ignorance of not knowing those things, especially not knowing the reality.
But we don't like to say, I don't know, right? People say, yes, I know. This is a, but Nandu Bena Sem Nyomo Yawa the Chena Susola Dunga what the Shingduas.
And so we always say, I know, but do we really know that if we follow the delusions, we become unhappy?
Nanzo, Kare, Tiwo Machiwa Nanzu Dogma was, Dogma was.
So we all want to be happy, right? None of us wishes to be unhappy, right?
Yenayam, Mende Gender, and Nanzu Mende Shawamabu Check.
So even though we don't wish for suffering, but we always engage in the action that brings the suffering, right? So that's because we don't know that action that we're getting involved will bring suffering. So if we knew, we wouldn't do that, right? Knowingly we wouldn't do that, right? So we don't know, that's why we engage in that, and then ends up bringing us suffering. So we have that kind of mind which thinks that, oh, I know it, I did what I think is right, what I did is right? We have that mind, do we? So it says, what I am saying is right, I'm not mistaken. What I'm thinking is right, what I'm not mistaken. What I'm doing is right, I'm not mistaken. What that person or the other person did is wrong. That person is mistaken, right? So we always blame on others. Do we ever blame ourselves? We always blame others, right? Do we ever blame ourselves?
단 삼점 때때도 용어를 시차는 가서 시땅기 차네 있잖아. 같이 자산으로 오잖아. 자산 돈주 자지 가디는 것도 좀다 메시말 수도 그러 봤어. 뭐나 써야 셴발.
So yeah, maybe we do accept some part of it, right? But 60-70% of the mistake, we always blame on others.
그러. 근데나 대삼들 삼발라. 저 셴발을 쓰는 삼발라 수수 제와다 수수 삼바다 수수 라바티 따다인 삼스징 같은데 와서
And so whenever we blame on others, and then at that time we always think that I'm right, what I did is right, I'm not mistaken. So that mind thinking that I'm right, I'm not mistaken is the ignorance. And so if we are correct, like 70-80%, of that, if we're really correct in the 70-80%, then we will not go through the sufferings, right? Yeah, whatever we did will not bring us suffering. So that comes from the mind not understanding, not knowing, right? And so the mind that eliminates that thought of not knowing, not understanding, is called wisdom, realizing emptiness, the reality.
다 산적의 추권 조사 충원에도 다 되나 다 간도 대간도 다 실행면 다 간도 가르쳐나 먹여와 좀 마체에서 송어래서 대 마체와들 다추 먹랍 초그레스.
And so that is very high level realization, and which we will not have as an ordinary person, right? And so whatever we can do now, is like the abandoning of the 10 non-virtuous actions. So Buddha has advised not to engage in 10 non-virtuous actions. So if we abandon that, then we will have some level of happiness according to that, and so that is protecting us from suffering, and so that we can call a refuge. The Dharma. We can call that the Dharma.
Okay. 다 Dharma 문에도 말했다. 그냥 Dharma 진대봐서 그나마죠. 다들 납쪽으로 와서.
So that's not the actual Dharma. Like I said, the actual Dharma will be wisdom, realizing emptiness, but this will be like the similar Dharma.
그러와. 다 먹여봤지 준수 싱그라 관계 싱그러워.
So you all know what are the 10 non-virtuous actions, right?
Right, most people, right? 그러와. 안에 준수 출력 셴바 로종 제뉴인데나야 출력 셴배 나는 먹여와. 그 천 가만만 나가도 어떤 미다다 맞아. 이거는 파 찌버려셨어.
And then if you're studying like other religions like Christianity, then they also teach about the 10 commandments, right? And it's very similar, to the 10 non-virtuous actions that we talk in Buddhism.
뭐 대다 사제가 전도 먹여와 쪼 공르게 샤와라 슈나 라고 전 거로 너그레 대 마제에서 말해서.
So if we engage in any of the 10 non-virtuous actions, then it will harm others, and of course it will harm ourselves. So he advised not to commit any of the 10 non-virtuous actions.
대르마도 주대 지나 젤란 너그레 대데 주대 마제라고 말 차라란 너그레 대다 대 마제 송어로 왔어.
So he said, don't engage in any of those 10 non-virtuous actions because it's going to harm yourself, not because it's going to only harm others, but because it's going to harm yourself. So therefore, don't engage in any of those 10 non-virtuous actions.
전제이다 될라야 리지 먹여와 섬 아니 나가 먹여와 섬로 시 아니 이지 먹여와 섬 어디에서
And so those 10 non-virtuous actions, like there are 3 committed through your body, 4 committed through your speech, and 3 committed through your mind.
Then maybe we can say 11 non-virtuous. Then what do you finger? 나도 누기기 좀 이게 되네요. 밀라다 내가 계속 못 시작인데 왔어.
So there are like usually we talk bad things from our mouth, so those will be the speech, right? But what when you type it, right? When you send a text message, right? you say bad things in the email or in the text message. Right? So harsh words. If you use harsh words, that will not be speech. That will be like finger, right?
Your fingers very 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 fast, But and this is joking, but we can also add that. tenri imbainza ta tenri magyawa che machewa susu pawatela ta gyawa che se tokyo res tenyamne chena susugi sosoya dewa jela ya no machewa yongores.
So the opposite of the 10 non-virtuous actions will be the 10 virtuous actions, right? So opposite of that. So killing is non-virtuous, so not killing is the virtuous. So you have to make a promise not to kill. So then when you don't kill, then that becomes a virtue. So not just by not killing, but by making a promise not to kill, and you don't kill, then that becomes virtuous actions. So there are 10 virtuous actions that you can engage in, and that will bring happiness to yourself and also others.
다 상제에서도 주tem바 보지. 되게 때문에 추디 가서나다 나서 텐데 가야 라요 나서 딱레 동보 왕도 냠내 지라다 먹게 왔지 뭐 좀 대해서는 것도 좋아요레스 추디 대레스.
And so the Buddha is the teacher, of the refuge, the one who explains, what is good, what is bad, and so forth. And then the Dharma, that like in the case of ourselves, like ordinary beings, then we can say the practice of the 10 virtuous actions. Practicing of the 10 virtuous actions can be a Dharma, or abandoning the 10 non-virtuous actions can be Dharma.
다 상제 주당 다 족세다 니 견에 땅아도 견에게 줄라 그래서 현재 단계가 다 아니 이진을 응어서 또 강사 지지 로달라 아니 주견조 되니 강사들아 견에게 줄라 그래서 다 나는 수이나 다 수수고 주대베가 나도 너들라 다 견에게 줄라 줘라 왔어.
And then the third object of refuge is the sangha, right? Sangha, what we call it, also the Dharma community. So the Dharma community or the sangha, the actual sangha will be a person who have gained the realization of the actual Dharma. So in this case, the person who have realized emptiness directly will be the actual sangha. But again, it's very difficult to find somebody who have realized emptiness directly all the time, and so anybody around us who can help us to engage in our practice of Dharma. So those people around us, like our the people, your classmates or the co-workers, who are like helping us to do our Dharma practice, that can be called also sangha.
아니 스페셜한 제와이나 아니 문에가 다 견내게 줘도 단데 동만이가 또 로지라되면 강사되지 다 견내게 줘 진도 바테 세거나 대라 아니 다 랍주 포모지 대인절라 견내게 준데 시샤초스 라비오레스.
And then in the text, so the even the what do you call the artificial sangha, a similar sangha. The actual sangha will be someone who have realized emptiness directly. So that doesn't matter whether it's an ordained or lay person. Whoever has realized emptiness directly, that person is a sangha. But in the teaching it says that so even if you don't have that, then a group of 4 fully ordained monk. If there's a group of 4 fully ordained monk, then that is a sangha. Like the Dharma community.
다 대왕아도 누가도 가와이 지금 다 lumade 얘기 문도 다 이나 알아서 단디 들 가래다 오 클래스 메시가 남도 어느 가도 다 주디베 다도레스 너도 가들라 때네 너도 루루 요발라 때네 가도인데 주디 제라고 요레스
And so even that is difficult in this country, right? So where do you find 4 fully ordained monks in every place, right? So it's very, very difficult. Like in our case here, we don't have that, right? And so that sangha, that the nearest sangha that we can have, is the members here, right? The members, of the center who are, coming together. And because of all these members involved, that's why we have the center, right? And without that, we will not have center. Without that, we will not have teachings. We will not have teacher. And so it's all because of that. And then, so that becomes the sangha. For us, that becomes the sangha. And so everybody who helps each other in terms of sharing the knowledge, supporting in any other ways, to practice Dharma, is a sangha.
What is the that sanju so shanj bada. Tenriga ane ta komcho sombotela. ane badang chapsum ches. ane 당에 총돌에 짭짜게 있어. 말에 쪼로치, 말 로바 제로치 가들라 그래서 짭짜나.
So to these 3 objects of the refuge, and you take refuge. Since I'm taking refuge, in these 3 objects of refuge, so please protect me from all the sufferings that I don't want to experience.
What? 근데 짭짜네. 아니 군중아 로바치. 당에 가르치나. 아니 나랑 거 소사와 소놈사와 개와드와티. 아니 근데 샘제담제 상제 다 토버쇼 세가담제 토비 전도버 쇼세하노. 아니 샘제더라고 그래서 특심하더니.
And so in the Buddha Dharma and Sangha, I take refuge until I'm enlightened. Yeah? So from giving and the rest, may I achieve enlightenment for the benefit of all. So that, and so giving and the rest. So whatever practice that you engage in like, giving and the rest, that means like, the practice of generosity, practice of morality, or, helping others, saying good things and so forth. So all these things, making prostration, all the merits, that you have accumulated from doing these practices, and then you dedicate, through giving and the rest, so you dedicate that merit, to achieve enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings.
다 남주 특된 동기는 대다대 삼 당기당이 채고래서.
So as you recite that formula or the prayer and the refuge prayer, you should also think on the meaning, that we have just discussed now.
근데 나오나 계시니 오라. 섬진 탐주등에 가진 상제 돕고 그래. 섬진 탐주는 가지 주도 가래. 나랑 고마되겠지. 미신발라 가지 주도에 가서 상거려 왔어.
And then again, of course, if we are not familiar, with the Mahayana teachings, then we might think that why should I dedicate, to achieve enlightenment for the benefit of all? When I myself, is not free from suffering, why should I be thinking about others? One thing like that.
대가는 근데 삼마이나 대리가 삼로 되게 소설을 펜도 요래서.
And so if you think like that, then actually it's good for yourself.
그래봐. 나도 공로 가든나 나도 셴바 샘지 셴바랑 가서 사게요. 다 샘지 셴바도 가서 까리 채워서나 소도 까리 채달라 가서 공로 삼삼 살만 가도 가디나 사고 말해.
So because if you think about how others are very beneficial, are very kind to us, then we will not become angry with them, right? So of course we become angry, but we don't become angry towards the person who we know has been very kind to us, right?
나도 공로 사사 다 빼차셔봤나 다 때때도 용어다 망아체 수수고 남이 점제 레가체로 노로도 나도 공로 사러와.
So usually when we become angry towards the people who are close to ourselves, right? Who are around ourselves, like our partners, like the husbands and wives, our children, and or like the roommates, the co-workers, and the neighbors right around that. Those are the people that we get angry towards, right?
맞아. 근데 공로선에 소설을 믹스하겠다. 놓아서 그러면 마치와 마치 형도 와서 간지.
And so when we become angry towards those people, that makes ourselves unhappy, right?
그래봐. 근데 이제 던수 응원을 살는 가서 까리치 모시라 이 말이에요.
But if we think about these people, then they are really very kind to us, right? They have been very helpful to us. All these people that we get angry towards, they have been very kind to us.
다들 삼모 땅서 망보 싫어요. 땅 간주 남배 채와이나 샘체 탐주 수수 파마 제만이 와 지어요 말들라고요. 그래서
So these are the people who've been very kind to us, and these are the people that who get angry towards, right? But if we really understand their kindnesses, then we'll get less angry towards them. And then of course, to even going beyond that, is to think about how all sentient beings has been our mother.
그러봐. 아니 간주 저 다들 삼 도움도 왔어. 중종이 바와마 제니오랑 가중도 바와마 제니도 간주 진 삼모지 땅 도움도 왔댔어.
So it's very difficult, to think how all sentient beings has been our mother, right? How you've been my mother and how I have been your mother, and that's very difficult to think, if we don't study and contemplate on that all the time.
아니 레다 젠데세디 콜라야 삼로 야보지 탄 로조 야보 제메나 도종동 땅 로인 고고 말을 와.
And for that, of course, we have to have the knowledge about, or who have to had studied about karmic law of cause and effect, about past and future lives, and so forth. So if we have that understanding, then it will make sense to us when we say that all sentient being has been our mother.
다 두르쳐 쌈 먹어신다. 샘제강의 방화라든가 쌈 먹가래 가오치. 얘나 나로서 나지 나로서 록파 간가 나 나지 대wan도지 누가 문대 발간도 쌈도 살아봤어.
So it is difficult to think that all the sentient beings has been our mother, right? But we can think that they are also very same like me, who wants to be happy and who don't want suffering. We can think like that, right? That's not very difficult to think.
땡아도 쌈도 살아. 나로서 록파다. 나로서 딱 비게 야갈 쌈 따먹고 야나라 쌈 따먹고 여러 쌈 따먹고 나로서 록파 수수건 로로 누로 돈도 찾아 나라 나지 거야 대wan대가 뭐야 대wan대 봐 직바에 레들 쌈도 살아봤어.
So of course, it has to be applied to all sentient beings, but at the beginning we don't have to do that. We can just apply to the people, right, close to ourselves, like and our family members or our neighbors or our co-workers. Just think about those people and think that they are very same like me, wanting to be happy and not wanting any suffering. Can we think like that? That's easy. That's not very difficult to think, right?
Correct. 아니 되지. 다 콘도에 니자 나 나지 셈 요모 양와다 절. 아니 만데 바이나 셈 요모 양와다 전에 다지 게제시니 남저 뜨니 소소 때때마다 다 요모 양와다 뜨는 게 자자래 대삼도 살아봤어.
And then on top of that, can we think like, these people are not really, to be blamed, because when we become angry towards them, we blame them, right? So there's this, he did this, she did that, and so forth. So because of that, and then we become angry towards that person. But then if we can think that, these people are not to be blamed because it is the delusion in their mind that made them to do like that, that made them to think like that or say like that. Can we think like that?
때때들에 라도야 상도 그저 삼 땅사를 인도와 다 섬제도 이게 파마 체녀를 쓰다가도 시라기 갈카고 도와서 남배 나로 좀 가로 제명해나.
So this way, we can just by thinking like that, then we can start to blame less on others, right? That way it's a little bit easier to think rather than thinking that all sentient being has been our mother, which of course is true, but it's a little bit difficult to understand that at the beginning.
되네도 혹시 삼로 땅에 아니 소소가 지금 간제 년코레 옆에 섬지도 콘로 맞아야 당 저도 말아와 아니 지금 다 파스 가는 주바자 먹어와 근데 답이 상당 오래서.
And so by thinking in that way, then we don't blame on the people who are close to ourselves, and we accept their faults and so forth. So by thinking like that, we try to minimize our anger towards them. And so that's one way, but you can find many different ways, to not get angry towards them. So apply those means, to not get angry towards them.
근데나 드네 삼선사 지금 소소라 코로랑에 지와 있나야. 왔다 이제 코에나 모에나야. 대야 녀모 장와다 전에 마시바 마리페 왕게 다 누수 즉 샤반데 제근도 니제로 삼아나 근데 소소 코로 사고 말했어.
And so if we think like that, if we think that these people, whether he or she is doing this, is saying that, is thinking like that, it's because of the delusions in our mind, in her mind, in his mind, because of that, and so the person actually is not really bad, but it's because of the delusion that made them to say like that or do like that.
대마사마지 다 코이나 뭐나 소소라 지금 남주 때다 지금 라이브 지금 남나 ngala tsik tu chandra ji lapso ngala namju tu chandra ji ten so sem so semla te samde wana so konro ma sayong kore and so ma ji wachi ros.
So if you blame it to the delusion, then you do not become angry towards the person, right? So then you skip the anger towards that person, which is very good. Otherwise you'll be thinking that if you say, oh, he did this, he did that, so if you like blame on that person, then you become more angry towards that. So actually you whenever you take your mind away from that thought of thinking that person is bad, then anger already goes away. And so also thinking about oneself alone, the selfish mind, thinking all the time about ourselves, that we should try to reduce as much as possible.
얘나 안준 삼삼 딱 예전에 저요 예 파조 로바치고 각을 나야 될라바지 얘나 보고 삼마 야고 있다나 보고 될라야 소수고 된다죠 소수고 되든지 어렵다 그래 돼야 당들 각을 남나야 된다라도 로메로스.
And then also sometimes we kind of show off to the people, saying that, oh, I did this, I did that, I gave a donation to this, I did it, and so forth, and and so I'm benefiting them, by doing this. So, by of course you did that, but by thinking like that, but expecting something like in praise, from that and so forth, then it doesn't really become beneficial, for yourself actually, because then that doesn't bring you happiness. And that if the people don't praise to you, then you become unhappy. So that's even worse. Like.
어디 다 간지 공다지식 다 간도 지 노동으로 올라와이나. 다 산지 준소만 되면씩 가서 망하면 되어서.
So anyway, in short, there isn't any of us here who don't know how to recite that refuge prayer, right?
Refuge prayer 되는 사람라 되게 대나다 사람도 로랑 거다고 그래서.
And so when you recite that refuge prayer or refuge verse, then this is how you should think.
그봐. 아니 산지 준소만 다 신도 집에 돈음 집에 다 써야 돼. 나 써야 돼. 간지 때 사람 땅 그래서 가디나.
So usually, we say like in the Buddha and Sangha, take refuge and enlightenment through the practice of giving and the rest. So through the practice of giving the rest, may I achieve enlightenment, right? So when we talk about the I, that I, so may I achieve enlightenment, the I. So then also we should think about the I.
가디나 나 삼대 때라 때는 가서 잠들어 강가용 거였어.
And so because of always thinking I, thinking about oneself all the time, then we experience all these sufferings, pains, and so forth.
사지에게 죽어나라야 저런 그 싸마 나지 나대 저런 싸마는지 요 말해서 그래서.
And in the teachings of the Buddha, it says that the I that we're thinking about all the time doesn't exist the way we think about it.
근데 요나 저런라 계셔지네 저런 가게 들에서 좀 두두네 중동한 두두요 요스.
And so if there is such I as we think about it, then we should be able to point at it, right? If there is such I that as we think, and that like it appears to us, then we should be able to point at it. Will we be able to point at the I? So if somebody asks you, which is you? So somebody asks you, which is you, right? So and then what will you point at, right? And somebody asks you, which is Geshe, then what is Geshe? Which one is Geshe? So what about his face, right? Geshe's face is Geshe? So just like his hair is not him, his face is not him. His body is not him, right? What about the heart inside his chest? Is that him? And what about the mind? Is the mind Geshe? Is Geshe's mind Geshe? So, just from the way we say it, right? We say my mind. We don't say I mind, right? We say my mind. So that already shows that, the mind is the possession of the I. It's not the I. And so if we think in that way, then we'll find that the I that we're always thinking about, I want this, I want that, I want to be happy, I don't want that, and so all these things doesn't exist the way it appears to us. Then what about that I? Doesn't it exist at all? The I that experiences suffering, the I that experiences happiness, doesn't it exist at all? It does exist, right? The I exists. So that there is a I as existing merely as imputation. So there is a I, right? So there is definitely I. The I is talking. I'm talking to you, and you're listening to me. So there is definitely I. There is a I, but there is no I like it appears to us. And so some people say Buddhism talk about selfless. There's no self, right? So no self, no I. No, of course not. There is I. So there is an I that doesn't exist, and there is an I that does exist. So we have to find out about that. We have to know exactly what is the I that doesn't exist. So the I that appears to us doesn't exist. But there is an I that experiences all this happiness, sufferings, who's talking, who's looking. So that is I, that I there. If there is no I, then who's doing all these things, right? So there is an I who's doing that, but there is no I. Not this I though, okay? So you're looking at my eye and said. So there is an I who is doing all these things, but there is no I like it appears to us. And now the question is, how does it appear to us, right? How does it appear to us? So that I, that the way it appears to us, that kind of I doesn't exist. And so, how does I appear to us? Of course, there's many different ways, and so definitely the worst is like, appearing as existing from its own side. Again, as existing, inherently by itself, independently, without depending on any conditions, as in any causes and conditions. So that is how it appears to us, and that kind of I doesn't exist. So there is a basis of the I. So the I is just name. It's a label. It's name, right? It's a designation, and there is a basis of designation. And so basis of designation is the aggregate for the I. So the basis of designation of the I is aggregate. So to aggregate, you label it as an I, and then that becomes an I. So therefore it's just a mere imputation, just a name, right? Just a name that's labeled by mind, and so that is the I. That's how the I exists. But to us, how I appear is as existing from its own side, without depending on cause and condition. So is there I that doesn't depend on cause and condition? No, right? Everything depends on something, either in cause condition or something. So when it appears as not depending on anything and existing independently by itself, so that kind of I doesn't exist. But that's how the I appears to us. Therefore, the I that appears to us doesn't exist, but there is an I. So by labeling the I, to the or imputing the I to the aggregate, we can say there is the I. so for example, like we say, oh, that girl is beautiful, or that guy is handsome, so why do we call that, right? Does the handsome comes from itself, or do we level it to something? Like we call, we look at the body and then we think that is very good, but maybe it's not necessary to all people, right? If it's really good, then it should be really good for everybody. So to us, so that certain shape is beautiful, but to them, certain shape is beautiful. So I say that's beautiful because, that's my mind, think it's beautiful, right? My mind levels that as a beautiful. Yeah.
대답해나 보다 득본 두라나 아니 보다 셴바지라 때네 득본 두생아도 지금 때네 작으러 왔어.
And then again, it all depends on others, right? Like when we say he's handsome, he's handsome compared to the other one who is not very handsome, or or the ugly. Right? According to him, according to him, that he's very handsome, right? But if there is somebody more handsome, then he says, oh, he's not very handsome now because there's somebody else who is more handsome.
아다 두지 가제 된지게 땡데가 거때 다 산이 가든처럼 뭐 진달래 뻔에 산이 나니 건다니래야 아니 땡데 걸어야 다 같이 나와레스 나게레스.
So it is all about interdependent, right? And depending on this is like the short and long. It's a long because it's longer than the short, but it's not really long. Compared to the something that's longer. Yes? If it's that's longer, then that's not very long. That's short now. Yeah, compared to that, it's short. Compared to this, it's long. So it all depends. All right. So it's all called interdependent. Anyway, so there will be more detailed teachings about interdependence, and taught by the Ganden throne holder. He's going to be coming here tomorrow and day after tomorrow, teaching 2 evenings, right? Monday and Tuesday evenings. So don't miss that.
가든 저와서도 가르쳤나 지름 못 건섭을
So Ganden throne holder, is called the in the Gelug tradition, the founder of the Gelug tradition is Lama Tsongkhapa. So a successor of Lama Tsongkhapa is called Ganden throne holder. So after Lama Tsongkhapa, then there came all these the successors who came. So those are called the Ganden throne holder.
근데다 다 공급 소주 나야 돼. 지름 보지가 산지 좀 된들라야 다 땡데 거네 땡데 다 땡데 또 쓰지 거네 또 배기 다 송주도 나가서 어로.
And so Lama Tsongkhapa, who is the founder, and then he passed away. Then his closest disciple, Gyatso Rinpoche, became the successor, and then after that, then another one, then another. So it's like an unbroken lineage up to now. So he's this is the current Ganden throne holder. And he's going to teach about the it says in praise of the interdependence. So actually in praising the Buddha for teaching the interdependence.
어떤지 이자다 고 가든 저와서 대 양식 다들 고치 미다죠 말에 다 로종 거는 다시네 다 doctor 거는 doctor 거는 다 doctor 다 자대로 나베.
And so the Ganden throne holder is not something that's just a position. It's actually gained through the knowledge and experience. So somebody who have that knowledge and then can become that, and actually of course has to have a lot of merit to be able to sit on that throne of Lama Tsongkhapa. So of course that already shows that he's a great person and a great teacher, and not only that, but he really has the knowledge. He's like a doctorate of doctorates.
근데 다 가라서인데 커뮤니티 가들라 때네 다 가든 저와야 되는 다 나니 시다 지외가 딸이 주둥이가 땅굴 비신데 배워러 왔어 다 달로 아니 가든 저한테 딸이 줍셔 종안이 배워다 가서 고급 상보 커뮤니티 가들라 때는데 연구를.
And so it's all because of the sangha here, right? The community, the members, because of the community of the Kurukulla Center, and then we're able to have, such a great teacher like the Ganden throne holder, and then a year ago we had a great fortune of having His Holiness the Dalai Lama, right, on the 16th of October last year, and this year on the 14th and 15th of October we're going to have a Ganden throne holder.
그래다 소년이 건다 딱 가주 난거래 대표와나 다 땡레콜이야 소 송그래.
And so tomorrow and he's going to be teaching here, and he'll be teaching in a more detail about the interdependence, and you should not miss it.
Okay, that part 되는다고 했는데 다 마음속에 말랍다는 간도 되는 아샤스.
So that's about it for today, and we'll stop here.
저도 저번에는 저시 당스.
So if you have a question, maybe we can have a few question answers.
Yes.
We were talking about the I as aggregates, and I have a question about realizations. Is a realization the clearing of the I so that the I can see something? Is that what a realization is?
ngāgi tēne tā tōkpa sē chara, ngā tōkpa sē di, tīru tēne kārā yasa, tā ngā mewa shē dhiri wēs.
ngā mewa shē ma rēs. ngā mewa shē ma tē ngā tu nōru kō rēs, ngā yō rēs. ngā rā sū nā nā jī tā mewa shē kō rēs.
So, yes, understanding the I not existing as it appears to us. So that will be the realization. Yeah, understanding that. Of course, not the understanding of no I at all. Of course, that's not the one we want to understand. We want to understand what kind of I doesn't exist. I does exist, but what kind of I doesn't exist? The kind of I that appears to us doesn't exist. That is what we want to know. And that is when we know that, then that's the realization of the I, of the selflessness. The realization of the selflessness or the realization of emptiness, you can call it.
So that would be more. It's more than an understanding. It's a real knowing of it.
또 똑바탕 쉐바세 케버스스로 시고스래. 당고는 가도 다른 것도 쉐도 시고다. 당가데 나랑 나나시 나가도 요 말씀 시고되나. 근데 또 요 말았어.
또요 말았어.
다 똑바다 쉐바냐 가르쳐 보셔 그랬어.
다 똑새도 다 영한테 말어라. 당가도 시 어레는 말을 랍라가 다 시세우면 가지도 똑나 다 영한테 봐서.
So of course, there's a difference in the knowing and realizing. So I'm very similar in the meaning. Knowing means realizing means knowing. So you can say that. But when we put it in terms of the realization, then not just intellectually knowing that yes, the I doesn't experience. It makes sense to us, right? So how does I appear to us? It appears in that way, and of course that kind of I doesn't exist. That makes sense to us, and we can understand that. That's just the understanding. But to realize, that means to have the experience of knowing that in your mind, that whenever you think of I, that's how the I appears to you, as being empty of existing in a way it appears to us. So when you think of I, if it appears to like that, and then you say immediately you think, oh no, the I doesn't exist the way it appears to me, and then that's when you have the realization.
가디로 녀와나 가디 잘라 간가 밥 냠도 마르고치 가지 카카카가 루이네 루루치 비샤나 나도 비게데 가디를 라고 말어봤어 다데 간가 잘라지 지 가차나 때 노초지도 다데가 가디에 상도 랍샤로 왔어 되는데 왔어 그게 팅냐라 잘라쳐도 상대야 되나 가디도 랍고 말어.
So just like when we level something as a car, so what do we call a car? So something that have all these mechanics and all the machines and body and wheels and so all together, and then that runs. We call that car, right? But how it appears to us is by itself, without depending on all these things, without depending on that mind which labels it as a car. That's how it appears to us. Yeah. And so if there is such such a car exists from its own side, then then it should be just like so that if there is such a car, then they should be able to point at it, right? And so then which one is the car? So it's the this or that, and so when we separate, we can't find the car. And then sometimes we might say, oh, the group of all these things together is called a car. Yeah. It's a group of those things together called a car. Then again, a group of those things together is a car. It's not true, right? Because if you don't put them together and it's not, and so if you have all these parts in the box, so that you already have them and all the parts there. You bring all the parts together, it doesn't become car, right? Just having all those parts together doesn't mean car. So just like that. So it's,
chidin isro.
of course, it's not easy to understand about it. It's a little bit more difficult. But the why Geshe said mentioned it about it is because tomorrow there will be more teaching about it. So that's why it would be good to come and listen to
A
that.
little bit. Oh yeah, I have something hard that. Okay? But Teneza, Tendekola ya samlo tang. Sonoko tsoksa go.
And of course, it's a very high realization, and it's not going to come easily, and especially if you have a lot of negative karmas created, and then that will obstruct us from gaining the understanding. So it is important to engage in the practice, to purify the negativities, which are unfavorable conditions, get rid of those, and then accumulate more merit, which are favorable conditions. That helps us to gain understanding of the emptiness.
그래서 동반이나 단이나 샤라주는 포함 저랬을 때네. 동반이 걸다 좀 마음만 발에 시와이나 하는 거들 내가 요래 들어와.
So if the people are not ready or don't have the level of understanding, then it is harmful to explain emptiness to them. So then there's and also a difference on the merit level of the merit that you have. So if you don't have enough merit, you will not have understanding. Then you even might misunderstand, which will be worse, right?
다 존도 강가 다 뭐뭐 고사에다 그거나야 말소 내가 기억 말해.
But you have heard a lot about it many times, so should not be any problem in your case.
Okay? Okay. Yes.
So the I in the I
be parted in any of their lives from the purest path praised by the Buddhas. Whenever someone makes an effort to act in accordance with the tenfold Mahayana virtuous practices, may they always be assisted by the mighty ones, and may oceans of prosperity spread everywhere. In that snow mountain encircled land, source of every benefit and joy, may Lord Tenzin Gyatso Chenre Zig remain in life till samsara's end. Tong ni ning je zung tu zhu pe lam che che se ze gang chen ten troi gung Jang na pe mo tenzin gyatso la so adebzo je lung dru show. Short life prayer for Lama Zopa Rinpoche, page 49. You who uphold the subduer's moral way, who serve as the bountiful bearer of all, sustaining, preserving, and spreading Majnu's victorious doctrine, who masterfully accomplishes magnificent prayers honoring the three jewels, Savior of myself and others, your disciples, please, please live long. Your form embodies all Buddhas. Your nature is that of Vajradhara. You are the root of the three jewels. Homage to you, O Gurus. In short, I seek your blessings, O Protector, to be cared for by you from birth unremittingly throughout all my lives, and thus to become your chief disciple, holding every secret of your body, speech, and mind. O Protector, please grant that all be auspicious for me to be foremost among your very first circle of disciples wherever you manifest Buddhahood, so that all my temporal and ultimate wishes, without exception, may be effortlessly and spontaneously fulfilled. In all my lives, never separated from perfect gurus, may I enjoy the magnificent Dharma. By completing the qualities of the stages and paths, may I quickly attain the state of Vajradhara. Furthermore, in my life after life, may I, pleasing him in return, be forever fostered by an accomplished Mahayana spiritual master, the source of every virtue of this world and beyond. In his care, may I inquire in him a firm, unshakable faith, pleasing him by every means possible, doing nothing even for an instant to disappoint. May my spiritual master impart to me every instruction and every teaching in its entirety. Having understood them faultlessly, may I practice them and be able to bring them to perfection. May I never even for a moment fall under the sway of malevolent teachers and misleading friends. Having developed in every life belief in cause and effect, renunciation, the Bodhi mind, and the pure view, may I bark upon them continually with effortless experience. In every life, may every virtuous act gathered by way of body, speech, and mind be causes solely for the welfare of others and for the purest and highest enlightenment. Page 75. Should I do the Migme? No. Oh, sorry. Page 57, Prayers of Dedication. Through this virtue may I swiftly, having gained Guru Buddha state, place each and every sentient being without exception in that state. Precious supreme Bodhi mind, may it where unborn arise, and where born never decline, but but increase forevermore. Page 75, sorry. Page 75. Migmet se we te chen chen rezig drime kempe wang po jam pel yang gong chen ke su gen Tsongkhapa lo sang drape jabla soade.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.
So we just want to say welcome back, Geshe. So happy to have you after a wonderful trip. Now you can tell us all about that. Okay. And we can all enjoy and participate with him. And we also have another wonderful thing to celebrate. A little happy birthday, please, for Barbara. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Barbara. Happy birthday to you. Good. I'll make announcements afterwards, but if you want to cut up the cake and we'll all share.
Mama,
I'll do them right now.
Hadua.
All right. So, what's happening in the world? A lot of things happening. So, on Friday, we greeted the Ganten Trippa. So he's arrived and he went to Milarepa Center. So he's concluding teachings over there. He will be back tomorrow around lunchtime. Sometime they're leaving after breakfast, so maybe they'll be here around lunchtime. If any of you are able to come to the center to greet the Ganten Trippa, that would be wonderful for him to have people here. And then in the afternoon, the plan is that we'll start teaching at 6 o'clock. We go from 6 to 8 o'clock will be the teaching. We'll update the calendar and the email that will go up with the right information, hopefully. And then right after teaching, we'll do a Guru Puja. We don't know yet if the Ganten Trippa will be joining us for the Guru Puja, but we will make requests. So there's an opportunity, possibility that we might be doing Guru Puja with the Ganten Trippa. Just unbelievable, amazing. Also, so that happens on Monday. On Tuesday, the teaching with the Ganten Trippa will resume from 7 to 9 p.m. His departure on Wednesday, I'm not sure yet. As soon as we figure that out, we'll put that either on the website or we'll send an email. As well as always seeing him off, that would be good for us to do. This is the head of the Gelug tradition. This is the head of the tradition that Kurukulla Center belongs to. So this is somebody very, very, very special to be visiting Kurukulla Center. We also have His Holiness the Dalai Lama's doctor, who is here today. He's at the meditation room. If you want to have a visit with him, a consult, he will see you. Send out the details. He will be here until 4 o'clock today. He's charging $50 for the consult and $45 for a month of Tibetan supplements. This is using the Tibetan medicine method. And he will be here tomorrow as well from 9 o'clock in the morning until 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Then, another big news, and we'll develop on that later, and we'll do appropriate thank yous. Sarah and Devin have concluded their term as SPCs at Kurukulla Center. This is usually a 2-year term, and as many of you may be aware, they do have another child, expecting another child, so it's just too much to try to do everything. So what they're doing right now is they're remaining in an advisory role, so they'll help us as we transition. But right now, Erica Nagy has accepted the position as a new SPC. She has been coming to the center for some time, but she is going to rely a lot on everybody to help her put things together. She'll be more in a coordinating role. So more details on that, I'll be sending that. Right now we are in transition, so apologies for anything that we overlook, anything we forget. We'll get it smooth as soon as possible, but that's what we're currently going through. And we do plan to have a get-together with Geshe so that he can show us all kinds of pictures and all kinds of details from the trip that he was just to.
We will make a slideshow one time.
Okay,
We are done together.
very good. Do people know where Geshe went? Any ideas where Geshe went?
I think now, I went to Tibet. This is my father. But before I left, it didn't very clean because the law goes smooth or not. Then, therefore, I went to Tibet, see my family, come back to home. Okay.
Welcome back home, Geshe.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Geshe.
Yeah. Okay. Please enjoy the cake.